Okay, we're working on breaking animals up into shapes, and some of you guys have already gotten through this part where you chose an animal to break up into shapes. And basically what we're doing is just breaking it up into circles and squares. So I'm more of a circle person. When I look at this frog, I break it up into ovals. So like I think of oval shape here, and I'm working in permanent marker just so it's easier to see. I'm breaking it up, and like maybe I can think of a triangle for the foot right over here. And once I get that down, then I can go ahead and, well, just visually seeing it into shapes, I can come down here, start breaking it up into shapes. Sometimes it's a little harder, like I'm looking at the angle of the body of this frog, how it's sitting at this angle. Sometimes your pencil can be as a really good tool figuring it out what the angle is. So I'm taking it down here, matching it down here. And I'm looking at the leg. What is the angle of that leg, or this, how it bends up this direction, etc. So keeping it really simple, tiny shapes. So I also have this arm coming up and this foot, etc. Okay, once I get that down, what I can do now is start breaking it up into details. So, for example, I can start erasing some of these maybe unnecessary lines that I really don't need as I'm drawing. So I'm coming up. Maybe I can start placing in the eye of the frog. Not sure what's going on with the feet here. I'm just going to keep it as a simple shape at the moment, etc. So that's how you draw things proportionately. Just think of it as shapes. And I can start getting into other details, like maybe there's like a ridge on his back or a highlight that I'm looking at, or maybe an interesting texture, etc. So that's just the beginning. I asked everyone to do this exercise at the beginning of just practicing breaking things up into shapes. So now your animal's entangled. I asked you guys to choose an animal of your choice, and just be sure that you have the entire animal. It's not cropped off in some sort of way. You want to see the entire thing. And these are animals that you can choose from. This beetle is excellent. It's really easy to segment, or black and white animals. And I decide I'm going to do this fox because this fox is just a little bit tricky. And I already started breaking it up into shapes. I was thinking about circles and squares. I'm having problems with this foot here, so I'm going to check the angle if I'm having problems with that. There we go. All right. In the fox, and I can start erasing some of my unnecessary lines that I have here. Now here's the tricky part with this animal. I need to break this up into shapes to turn it into some sort of zentangle. So I can do this by value, like I can break up a shape very easily with this leg of the fox right here. And especially if you have some sort of furry critter, what I suggest is squinting your eyes and trying to see some shapes. Like I see that's kind of dark in this section over here, how it comes and curves. I need to figure out how can I break this animal up into big spaces and little spaces. So maybe I can make a little pattern for the ear here. Let's see, here's an eye, maybe the nose. Here's the other ear. Maybe I can well, I could probably break this face into a lot of different kinds of shapes. Let's see, I'll fold this down so we can look at it at the same time. There we go. And I'm starting this off with pencil because maybe I want to erase some things later. Let's see. Or what else can I break up? And once I finish breaking it up into shapes and spaces, maybe I want a big pattern for this whole section here. That seems like a good idea. Here's the bottom foot, etc. Going through. Maybe I can play with a fun texture for the tail, etc. And once I figured that out, then I can start breaking it up into patterns. So I still have those pattern papers sitting out in the commons area if you need to grab them, or you can just use the internet. And I start, remember thinking about that variety where you have dark patterns, light patterns, patterns that are geometric, patterns that are organic, light patterns, lines spaced out, lines close together, etc. So here's some student examples of a finished animal Zentangle. And because of the situation that we're in, if you do not have one of those pens, any kind of pen will do. I prefer using a black pen. So something like this I'll be fine with for our current situation. Here's a turtle, student example, where I've got this cow. You're welcome if you wanted to put in a background like this person did, where we have kind of these water ripples. But if you don't and just want to keep the animal with a white background space, that works just as fine. And so anyways, when you're finished, just take a picture of it with your camera, download it, and send it to me, and I'll get this graded. And that is the end.